Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to talk about a really cool ass knife. Now, this is also a knife ramble as opposed to a review. The knife in question is the Craig Brown Knives Cortex version 2. All right, so the ramble is loaners versus owners. Know what I'm saying? I gotta keep it catchy. Knife rambles, loaners versus owners. Know what I'm saying? So basically what I mean is loaners versus knives I own. Okay? Because there is a huge difference between the two. And that's what I want to talk about with you guys. You might not see it on the channel or other people's channels. I think this goes for other people as well. When I own a knife, you're probably going to get a more detailed review. Now, I'm not saying when I get a loaner, it's not an accurate review. It's not a good review. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch them. Please do. But there's a difference when I have a knife in on loan and when I own a knife. And I'm sure some people are different. But when somebody loans me a knife, I don't want to damage that knife in any way. And I could care less if the person tells me, you could fucking chop it through a brick. You could cut horses with that thing, bro. I'm not going to do it. It's not my knife. I just don't feel the same connection to a knife when it's a loaner as opposed to an owner. And now, loaners are awesome for a couple reasons. One, I get to experience knives I might otherwise never experience because I buy a lot of the knives you see on this channel. But there's certain knives that I kind of think are cool looking or interesting in some way, but I don't want to buy them because I don't have, unlimited funds. So getting in loaners, like Jared Neve sends me a lot of loaners of knives. I would never buy those. The Kaiser Deviant or whatever, right? But it's a great knife, I would have never experienced the Kaiser Delorme if it wasn't because of Jared. So there's a huge benefit to loaners, right? The other benefit is I get to try a knife that I might want to buy, right? So let's say I want to buy a knife, but I'm not sure I'm going to like this aspect or that aspect. I'm not sure that I can do a lefty reverse flick with the knife. So wouldn't it be way better to try one before I drop my $300 or $100 or $500, right? So those two reasons are why loaners are awesome, right? And much appreciated to the channel. A third, I guess, reason I don't really think about, but it's content, right? It's providing extra content. I get more videos filmed. I get more ideas and stuff like that because of loaners. And you guys get more content, right? Would I be able to do 2 videos a day if I didn't take in loaners? I don't know. Maybe I'd probably just be broke. So there's that, right? Another aspect is the owners, okay? So the reason I want to talk about this knife is because I actually owned, then loaned, then owned. So I originally wanted to try this knife out. So I bought one on the secondary, and I got a full titanium version. It's a V2 full titanium version. This is the Brown Knives Cortex. And while it was sexy as hell and really nice, beautiful knife, it didn't work for me. Even right-handed, it was trouble because that full frame lock on such a thin knife, you're always going to lock it up. And then it didn't have the pass-through, the hole. So you just couldn't flick it. Like, it had a little bit of a fuller. Maybe if you had, like, tiny baby hands, you could get in there and flick it, but I couldn't do it well. And then left-handed, it was absolutely atrocious. So what happened was, I sold that knife to my good buddy Jake over at Bearded Gear. Shout out to Jake. He's a great dude and a really good friend. And I love him. And I sold it to him because he wanted to try one too, right? And I actually wasn't having a great time selling that. Like, I was trying for like 5 days, which for me, guys, that's abnormal. Usually I post a knife for sale and I can sell it in like matter of a minute or a couple hours, right? And I'm not saying that's because I'm awesome. It's usually because I always put a good price on the knife and I have a decent exposure, right? Like, people see my shit, so they're more likely to see it. And then on top of that, I always put it at a lower price than, you know, retail or what I paid. I always take a hit on knives. At the very least, if it's a very popular knife, I'll make my money back, but I never make money on knives. So anyway, I was having a little bit of trouble with it, so I ended up selling it to Jake for like $630 or something, and I think I paid around $700, and it was like a $750 knife, right? So he got a decent deal on it or whatever, and he got it, and he liked it, right? Just like me, he liked it, he thought it was cool, but he wanted to be able to flick it. So he traded it for this. So he traded it for this one, right? So that's happening over in LA, right? Picture a map. I'm just kidding. So that's happening in LA. Meanwhile, over here in Pennsylvania, hell-bound country where we're eating our sprackle. What do they call it? Shit, I've never had it, so I don't know what it's... Fuck, what is that shit called that they always make fun of Pennsylvanians for? It's just a mash of shit. Sprackle. I don't know, whatever. I know what it is, I just can't think of it. Anyway, sorry. So, oh man, I want to know what it is. It's not coming to mind. So, in the meantime, over here in PA, my good buddy Kevin over at Knife Nerdery, go check out the Knife Nerdery channel. Kevin's an awesome dude. He loans me his version 1 Cortex, which is basically like this, a little bit different, like very minor cosmetic changes. And his had carbon fiber scales or some kind of fat carbon. And that's pretty much the only difference, right? The fat carbon, and then, you know, maybe some small tweaks that the guy made from version 1 to 2. That his is a version 1. So I got that as a loaner. We're coming full circle here, trust me. And I loved it. I sat there and played with it at my desk. I'm flicking it. I'm like, yeah, what? This is so much better, right? But I didn't like absolutely fall in love, like head over heels, it's the best knife ever situation, right? I gave it a very positive review. I really loved it. I'm not saying I didn't love it. I'm just saying it wasn't like, this is one of the best knives ever, right? And that's because it was a loaner. I carried it like one time, maybe twice around the house. I barely cut anything. I fidgeted with it a lot at my desk, right? And then I sent it back, and I kind of wanted one after that. So, a couple weeks later, a month later, Jake's talking about selling this one. Well, I jumped on it, and I bought it. Jake sold it to me for what I sold him mine for, full circle here, and I got it, right? Thank you, Jake. I love you, brother. And now I own it again. And I fucking love this knife. This is one of the best knives. This is one of my favorite knives ever. It just is amazing. The action on this thing, the fit and finish, the build quality, the fact that you can lefty everything, reverse flick it, you get that top flick. And then on top of all that, the ergonomics are so comfortable with this micarta instead of the carbon fiber on the one Kevin has. Still really like that. This is better. For me, just feels like a way more ergonomic knife because you got that nice soft feel to it. Excellent ergos, and then you get that sheep's foot freaking blade, just perfect for cutting shipping labels, EDC stuff, and then it just does that. Like, so what I'm getting at here is, I don't have a good point. Loaners are different than owners, and it's not that loaners are bad, right? I don't want you to get that impression. I'm going to have a stronger connection to a knife if it's mine, because I can throw this out the window and I don't care what happens to it because it's mine, right? I'm not saying I want to do that, but like, you get my point. That was dumb. I'm not going to throw it out the window, but like, I could drop it or something, right? Like here, case in point, I think I fucked the tip up the first day I had this thing, and I had to let my buddy Joe take it and try to put the tip back on it properly, which he did an excellent job. It cuts shipping labels excellently now. But none of that bothered me. I didn't care that I did that. Like, I just got it fixed and it was fine. But if it was a loaner, I would have been distraught. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't have a great point. I just wanted to kind of talk about that, the difference between loaners and owners for us channels and me specifically. I like getting loaners, but I don't get the same fizz. You know, I don't get the fizzy wizzies from the loaners. You know, unless it's a really just incredible knife. Like, I had that prototype of the TW Price Dawn in recently, and that thing gave me the fizzy wizzies, man. Like, I need one of those. So, it happens. It's just rare, right? And then I have to get one, and that's what I do. And then I get one. So, I love getting loaners from you guys. I love getting loaners from other channels, friends, from companies, all of that shit. Loaners are awesome. And a lot of time, loaners turn into owners. But there's a big difference between them. You're going to get a more detailed review. You're going to get a more hands-on, I guess, review on an owner. Not always. I mean, there's a lot of times that even the ones I own, I don't go ham with or anything. So it is what it is. But I don't know. I just wanted to bring up the subject. I was curious what you guys think. If you have a channel, or if, you know, maybe you have an Instagram page and you get loaners in. I send my knives to people who don't have channels all the time. So, how do you guys feel about loaners? Like, do you love them? Is it like awesome? I think for some people who can't afford to buy a bunch of knives, loaners are an awesome resource in that sense. And they are for me too, right? Because you can't just buy everything. So, anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Let me know down in the comments. Kind of a weird one today. I didn't really have a defined, like, I wasn't trying to get anywhere with this, right? I was just trying to talk about it. And sometimes I learn things as I just ramble on, because I'm thinking about it for the first time, really, you know? But I love getting loaners. I love that you guys send them. And I love getting owners because I love buying knives. And that won't stop. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And I will catch you later.